Hi everyone, and welcome to my SSMS primer. I'll be walking you through 11 essential tasks to get you comfortable with SQL Server Management Studio. I'll now start with connecting to SQL Server. My server name is localhost authentication, Windows authentication. Now click connect. And here we are. I am now connected to a SQL Server instance, and I can see our Object Explorer on the left is full of options. This is task 2, selecting a database. Here, I will now inform SSMS which database to use. Then I will now choose the database for this course. And this is database, and this is the database I'm going to use for this course. And I'll click. This is the database I'm going to use for this course. Sure, this is the database I am going to use for this course. Now we'll move on to task 3, executing a query and creating a view. So as I said, task 3 is executing a query to create a database object. So I'll paste in a script to create a view. And that's the script to create a view. Then to run it. After executing it, beneath in the output, it shows commands completed successfully. And if we now go to the view on the Object Explorer, we open our database, we now go to view, you will now see the create view we have just created. Now this brings me to task 4, which is the Object Explorer. And this is the navigation hub for everything in SQL Server. It contains you see the database, you see the security settings, and all other objects in them. Now let's look at SQL query to create a physical table. And that is task 5. I'll execute a create table script. And this is the create table script for T_W3_schools_customers. After executing, I need to refresh the table folder in Object Explorer. And as I execute, it commands completed successfully. Then on the table, we move down to the table, you'll now see it reflected here as being successful. This is task 6, and which is the selecting top 1000 rows. Then instead of writing select query, I'll now right click on the table which I created and select top 1000. A new query will appear and a common task, quickly looking at table instead of writing it. Then SSMS automatically writes the query for me and execute it. Since we've just created this table, it's empty. And this is it. Yes, I'm moving on, and this is task 7. Then in this task 7, I will now generate a create script. And by generating a create script, I will now right click on the table which I created, then script table as, then create to, then new query editor window. I right click. Yeah, look at that. That's great. SSMS has generated the exact SQL code needed to recreate this table from scratch, including all the data types and keys. But I will not save this, but I may even save it for later purpose. Now we are now in task 8, viewing the execution plan. Now let's look at execution plans, which shows how SQL Server runs our queries. Now I will now move to the select top 1000. I will now move to query and click on display estimated execution plans. Now this visual diagram shows the query plan. We read it from right side to left. Hovering over any part gives incredibly detailed cost information. This is a key tool for optimizing slow queries. We are now in task 9, that is filtering the tables list. That is, in this task 9, if a database has dozens of tables, and finding one can be very, very difficult. So that's where we have to filter. Here, I will now click on the tables folder. I'll click on filter. I'll now go to filter setting. Then property, I will now use name. On operator, I will use contains. Under value, I will now use W3 underscore schools. Underscore schools, I will now click OK. Good. In our Object Explorer, the tables has been filtered. And to remove the filter, we right-click, filter, then remove filter. Yes, the filtering has been removed from the tables folder. Yes, this is task 10, refreshing IntelliSense. Now, sometimes after creating new object, SSMS code completion called IntelliSense does not recognize them. So this is how it goes. Example, I will now put in a code here, and it's underlining red. Then to remove this red, we'll now go to Edit. I'll now highlight, move to Edit, move down to IntelliSense. From IntelliSense, I will now go to Refresh Local Cache. Sorry. I'll now go to Local Cache, and the underlining is off, and this is fixed. And the red lines instantly disappears. And now IntelliSense will help me autocomplete. Yes, we have come to the final task, and which is task 11, commenting out code, which is vital. This is just highlighting the lines which I do not want to run. For example, like this particular query, I'll now choose the 2 lines. I'll now click on comment out of selected lines. It will now give me 2 dotted lines in green showing comment. When I run, it will not run as per the query commands. If I want to undo the lines to make it a query and no longer a comment, I will now click on comment. The 2 lines will be off. It becomes a query. I have simply created an additional table, and which was successful, and is being shown in the Explorer as DBOT my own table. I'm glad that I've been able to explore from task 1 to 11. These are the building blocks which I will use every day. Thanks for watching.